One of the things I get asked the most about is how to price your content. You asked me inside CEO Society, you asked me in my DMs across all of our socials, so let's finally talk about pricing content. In my opinion, pricing content correctly comes down to a few things. I can count them off on one hand. The first one is going to be competitor analysis. The second is going to be content differentiation. The third is perceived value. The fourth, pricing tiers. The fifth, testing and adjusting. You knew I would talk about testing. I talk about it in almost every video. And then the sixth, which is probably more of like a bonus tip, is going to be about pre-release polls. So first, let's dive in to market research. One of the things I think creators overlook most often is how to do proper market research before pricing their content. So the way you want to go about this is by diving in to all of the platforms that you plan to sell content on. So if you plan to sell content on ManyVids or OnlyFans or SextPanther or insert platform here, Fancentro, Fansly, Loyal Fans, all of them. If you are going to release on those platforms, you should be doing research on those platforms. The way you're going to start your market research is by finding other creators that create similar content to you and kind of look and feel similar to you as a creator. I would probably look at other creators that have red hair, other creators that create JOI content, other creators that are fairly similar to me in looks, appearance, aesthetic, or brand. And then when I find those creators' channels, I would go through their content and when I would start to kind of take notes on how they're pricing. When you're taking those notes on how they're pricing, it's really important to also pay attention to how successful they are on the platform. So if you're on a platform like ManyVids, for example, or a platform that has maybe a homepage like Pornhub where it ranks people's views and how successful they are on that platform, this can give you an indication of how successful they are in their pricing strategy as well. So if you are on a platform like Pornhub, and you can see that this creator keeps having trending video after trending video and it's hitting the homepage, you know that their content is landing with fans. You know that it's good content to create in whatever niche you're doing. Now then follow them from their Pornhub platform over to their paywalled platforms. So maybe the video that they posted a trailer to on Pornhub that got a ton of views, landed on the homepage, is actually for sale on something like ManyVids or Clips for Sale or whatever clip store they're using. Once you've followed it over to the clip store, see how their pricing is. See if they're ranking on the Clip Store website. This is going to be a really good indicator that they have product market fit between the content, their audience, and the price point. If you can identify that, you can price your content very similar and it should perform just as well. Another good thing to pay attention to while you're doing this kind of research is how long this content might be. For example, if you are creating JOI content, how long is the average JOI video? While you're doing your research, you can start to make notes of these things, because over time, it's going to get your content to perform just that much better. The other consideration while doing market research is your quality of audience. So for example, my OnlyFans right now is currently priced fairly high. I have a $24.99 per month subscription, which qualifies my audience and my fan base to be a little bit more on the lucrative side. They have more expendable income. They are more willing to pay a high subscription rate because they're higher qualified fans. So knowing this, I know that I can typically price my clips or price my content a little bit above the market average because I qualify out my fans and my audience to be on the higher quality side. If you are running what most people are running in terms of our space, which is a $3 first month subscription that rebills at $10, you probably want to stay more aligned with market value on your content. And now, just because I said I was doing it one way currently, here's the disclaimer, I'm currently running a different kind of business model on my OF. That's why my content is priced so high, is because I put out a video a day. It's a lot of value for that subscription price. And I'm also not going to be continuing with this business model, so please stick to what the market is doing and succeeding with, not to the premium Snapchat business model, which I was only testing for my own purposes. So I was doing that. Don't do that. I don't recommend it. The test was good while it lasted, but I'm actually switching back my business model to more of the market value, which is the $3-ish for the first month, rebilling around $10. So you'll notice that if you follow my pages. Now, the next thing to consider is content differentiation. So typically, we all know that longer videos will cost more money. We want to price them higher, but that's not the only factor you should consider. Sometimes short, high impact videos can also command a premium price point if they meet market demand. So if you have a short video that is very niche, that if someone tries to type something in, some keywords to find that kind of content, they're going to come up short because there's just not a lot of it out there, you can still price that content on the higher side. So keep that in mind. Longer videos will typically cost more, but also something very niche, even if it's short, can be priced higher. So don't let that get away from you. Now, this brings us to the topic of exclusivity or customization. If you're offering custom videos or exclusive clips that are like not available publicly or not available across just any platform, you can also add a premium to pricing that kind of content. If you do resell customs, which some creators do choose to do, you can price that either lower because it's a resold custom, or if you're only selling or reselling that custom to, say, a fan with the same name, for example, you can price that premium because their name is in the content. My only note there is to just be really clear in explaining to fans when you do or create or sell custom content what the expectation should be. Managing fan expectations around customs is super important. If you say that I'm making custom content just for you, I'll use your name in it and I'll do X, Y, and Z per your request, but I still reserve the right to resell this content. Letting that fan or customer know that is really important so that they don't get upset or angry if they ever see that video, freely available on a platform or in a clip store somewhere. The next thing that you should consider is bundle pricing. If you are going to have a sale, if you are going to run a promotion, you might want to have a bundle of content created and then price it accordingly for that promotion or that campaign. Setting bundles and promotion pricing should be something that you do on occasion. I don't recommend running a promotion or sale or something all the time. Your fans will see that. They will get used to you always having something on special or always having something on sale, and they will come to expect it. Like I said a minute ago, setting expectations with fans is so important that you don't want to always set the expectation that you have a price to fall back on or a slashed off amount or something for sale. Setting the expectation that this is my premium price point, this is what you should expect when I release something, I think that is going to be better long-term for your brand, as it's been long-term much better and much more lucrative for my own. Now we want to talk about perceived value. When you are creating content, there's going to be signatures to your content that either give an impression or give an illusion or give a standard of what you are selling. So things to consider when I say that are the quality of production. If you have a very well-lit, well-edited content production style, you can probably demand a more premium price point for content that is obviously over the top with production value. You're going to see this a lot with like cosplay creators who have to do these, elaborate costumes and these elaborate sets. Content that comes through with high production value, like cosplay content, is typically going to demand a premium price point. So consider that and compare yourself amongst other creators who are making high production value content when you are considering your price points on these. Another consideration for quality and, perception of value is your brand. So for example, the Melrose Michaels brand, I am a relatively small creator. I have a high production value on most of my content, and then everything I do is pretty well thought out in terms of storyline because I'm mostly a solo creator. So my brand carries a premium price point because my OnlyFans is more expensive, at least presently. I will be changing that. But I demand a premium customer currently, and I demand a premium price point currently, and I have a high production value currently. All of these things I test and play with and will change. But because of the brand I've built, I can typically demand a higher value because I have a higher perception of value due to the brand I've built over the last 13 years. Now, if you're a creator who's making stuff that's very amateur, very grainy cell phone shot, which sells better, so this don't take this as a negative thing. That kind of content outperforms the kind of content I make. But if you are making content like that, it's probably going to come with a lower value perception because it feels like it just came off someone's cell phone, which is what people love about it. So again, don't take this as anything bad about that kind of content. It is a great way to create content and a really powerful place to create a brand around, especially right now. But you might have trouble pricing it on the higher end because also, just like it is the best-selling kind of content and the best-selling kind of brands right now, there's also a lot of brands out there like that. So the competition might feel a little bit higher. The other caveat to just perceived value is limited edition content. So anytime you can make something feel scarce or that it's going to disappear or that it's for a limited time, you can drive up the perceived value of that content. So if I was to make a piece of boy girl content, which is content I don't make, But if I was to do it once and only ever once and only release it one time in one PPV message that will never be available again, you can imagine that the perceived value of that content skyrockets, and my fan base would go crazy for something like that, and I would probably stand to make a killing. So if you can do something that feels very limited edition, very niche, very unlikely to happen again, you can drive up that perceived value and you can price it accordingly. So keep that in mind if you have something one-off that you want to do, maybe a certain cosplay, maybe a certain look, maybe a certain collaboration or a certain type of content or style of content. Those type of niche, one-off, limited edition things can really drive up the value on how you price that kind of content. Now I want to talk about pricing tiers. So you might realize that on some platforms, Fansly is one of them, you can kind of have tiers to your subscriptions. Or if you're a Patreon creator, you can have tiers to your subscriptions. With something like OnlyFans, you have the free page and the VIP page, which in essence is a very similar thing to like a tiered subscription. However, you can also consider your content in clips in tiered pricing. So for example, having base content. So base content is what you are going to use to lure new fans in to purchase the very first piece of content they'll ever see of yours, and then try to hook them into becoming a lifelong fan and go on to purchase again and again and again more and more expensive content, higher tier content. So that base content might be videos that you send out in mass messages, or that you make available on your feed for the subscription price, or that you put in your clip store for a lower price point. So maybe $10, $20 a video. Then you could have, say, a mid-tier price point. So this is going to be for your longer content. This is going to be for your niche videos that you might want to price higher, like $25 to $50. Maybe this is the collaborative content that your fans have really been asking you for. You know, collab with this model, I'd love to see you with him or her. That content you can price in a higher tier range because it has that collaborative effort or that additional length of time to it, or maybe just a slightly higher production value. Then you can have, of course, your premium content. So premium content could be those customs, that exclusive stuff, or like highly specialized content, maybe a certain cosplay. Again, you can level it up. And then this you can price extremely high, maybe $75 or more if you wanted. Now, this is going to be relative to you as a creator, the type of content you have, the quality, all of the factors considered. And again, you need to do the market research to figure out where you fall across these platforms in these niches for the type of creator you are. But you can tier the way you have your content for sale. This way you can get people at the entry level and make them fans. Then you can get people at the mid level and make the real money and the return on your investment. And then you can get those whales at the premium level or the premium tier and make them lifelong fans. Now, this brings me to my bonus tip, which is this idea of pre-release polls. So having surveys and polls, I think, is super great for one, just engaging with your fans, but also doing your own market research with your own targeted audience. So asking your fans like what they would be willing to pay for something that you are thinking about creating or releasing. This gives you just immediate feedback on what fans are interested in, or what their willingness to spend on something like that would actually look like. Which this helps because then you haven't already created the content, you haven't gone out of your way, you haven't done all of the legwork and put all of the time into something if you aren't sure that you have a market to sell it to. So incorporating some of these polls, incorporating these like pre-release teasing of ideas on your fan site, whether that be, you know, your feed or a mass message, etc. I think that would help a lot of creators save themselves a lot of time and also a lot of effort between creating something in general and then having to figure out how to price it or if their audience is willing to spend on it in the long run. So I hope you found this useful. I hope you are already a member of the CEO Society. If not, we talk about lots of things like this, especially pricing strategy. We have a lot of those conversations, and the community is closed, it is for creators only, and it is completely free. And you're gonna get more insight there, more pricing information, not just from me, but from every creator in our community. And we are over 600 members deep. So I hope you'll join us over there, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.